Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to share my action research project with you. A little bit of background information. As a third-year principal, I noticed my stress level was continuously on the rise. So I wanted to know what could be done to relieve the stress and emphasize the opportunities to experience joy. The purpose of this inquiry is to focus on finding joy in my day-to-day tasks, to find a balance and fulfill my personal roles, which will in turn help me become a better leader and support others in my professional role. Ultimately, I was interested in increasing my own level of job happiness by tracking actions that are within my control. My wondering. With this purpose, I wondered if purposefully focusing on finding joy in my day-to-day tasks will improve my overall ability to lead and support in both my personal and professional life. The actions that I took in order to inquire about this wondering was I started off with finding out the definition of joy. I started sharing the action research project with my staff in December. I created and shared a survey with the staff in January, and that survey focused on getting an insight into the climate and culture of Sunman Elementary School. Then starting in February, I analyzed that survey data and made some action steps based on those findings. Also in January, I created a joy jar where I weekly inserted pieces of joy that happened during that week. Next step was to focus on reading a daily promise. Further, I picked one of those pieces of survey feedback to focus on each week. Then in March, I shared the survey again. In April, I analyzed those findings. So that definition, I decided that I needed to have both a professional definition and a personal definition. So the professional definition I gained from Athena Partners, and it says, by joy, we refer to the feeling of success and fulfillment that results from meaningful work. Without joy and meaning in work, the workforce cannot perform at its potential. Further, a personal definition, joy is a permanent possession while happiness is fleeting. Joy stays, happiness comes and goes. So why aren't you more joyful if you are a child of God? We have very good reason to be, since the righteous shall be glad. They shall exult before God. They shall be jubilant with joy. And that's from Psalms. And our worship songs to tell of his deeds in songs of joy. So that came from Wellman. So a little bit of focus on what joy means professionally and personally helped kind of guide my action research. My survey results, I focused really on 2 data points, one of which was whether or not staff said that they felt recognized, and then if they felt respected. So in January, we had some feedback that 76% of the staff who responded said yes. Sometimes came back at 20%, and that 4% said that they were not always recognized. So again, just use that data then to make some action steps. The piece for whether or not they felt dignity and respected by everyone, we started out with 40% of yes, 36 mostly, and then there were a couple of outlier groups that I would say that really we needed to focus on, which is that not always by kids. So staff relayed that they were not always respected by kids. And then 4% straight up said no. I used the survey results. I printed off the Google form information and made some notes and took some action steps based on that January survey findings. Another piece of data that I included in this process was just that the more I acknowledged and showed respect and appreciation, I received that in return, which obviously I think is clear added to my joy. So there's some notes here that just show texts and emails and written notes, just some feedback from staff. There's a picture here of the daily calendar that I utilized, as well as the joy jar deposits. When I completed the staff March survey, I did see a 4% increase for staff saying that they felt recognized and thanked. Also in March, there was a 7.3 increase that the staff shared that they felt that they were treated with dignity and respect. We are still sitting at 16.7 that say that they're not always respected by the kids. So that's an area we'll continue to focus on. This is just an example of some of the feedback that will continue to be utilized for future weeks as the results show things that the staff indicates that we can address. So overall, my discoveries, I found out three main things. One, the process forced me to be intentional in seeking out positive experiences and interactions. And that happened through the Joy Jar, the daily promise readings, and then I just was intentional about sending texts, sending notes and emails to staff to show my appreciation for them. My second finding was I felt more joy. The more I expressed gratitude for others and their efforts, increased the amount of gratitude I received. Prior to this project, I received one written piece of gratitude, and throughout this process, I received over 8 pieces of written gratitude. And my third finding, this process just forced me to be intentional in working to establish a positive climate and culture. So before this project, I sporadically sought out staff input for improved climate and culture. And now during this, I am intentional about addressing issues brought forward. So where am I heading next? Just overall, this action research has shown me that searching for joy does have a positive impact on both the school climate and culture, as well as my job satisfaction. The more I've sought out ways to celebrate successes and to address staff concerns, the more I am motivated to keep searching for the joy. So 3 follow-up steps. I will continue to provide opportunities for staff to give feedback regarding climate and culture. Number 2, I want to provide students with the opportunity to provide feedback regarding climate and culture. And step 3, I want to use my leadership team to help plan and organize ways to celebrate one another. And all of that is just to continue to foster a climate of culture and joy. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to joy.